This is Algebra 2. We are in our new unit, Unit 3. We are dealing with arithmetic and polynomials. Here is our unit guide. That is actually what it looks like. So arithmetic with polynomials, we have 7 lessons, so it's going to be fast. This is 2 weeks worth of assignments, so it goes really fast, just like our last unit, but not as fast. Last unit was only 6 days. This one is closer to 9 days. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. What do I mean when I say degree? Degree is the highest power. So sometimes I talk about degree. It's kind of synonymous with power. So if I, for example, have, let's just see, x squared. The degree of x squared is the power, so the degree is 2. But this does get harder. And so far everything is review. We haven't done anything new. Let's just make sure we know what's going on here. Let's give a harder one. Let's do y to the power of 4.5. Quiet raised hand. You get a piece of candy for the first one. Fiona, 4.5. There it is. You guys can pass over the bag of candy if you want. But this does get harder. And let me give you the XP before I forget. So Does she get a piece of candy? She does. She gets another piece because, yeah. So the first time that you participate and get XP in this class, I don't know why I clicked on that. You get a piece of candy because it is Halloween. Let's see, James, you are not here. And Chris, you are not here. But Fiona, you did just get 50 XP. All right, so what about this one? If I have x, y, what is the degree of that now? Anyone want to take a guess? Eva? Good guess, but it's actually 2. This one is actually 2. The reason being, this is x to the power of 1, y to the power of 1. You just add everything that you see there. So let's see if you guys can get this next one. If I have x to the power of 3, y to the power of 4, what is the degree of that term? Stego. 7, there it is. Let's just get some more free XP in here. A, b to the 3, y to the 7. What is this degree? Eva. It is 11. What about x, let's do y, x, z to the 2, q. What degree is this one? Andrea. 5. And I need to come back here and give Stego your XP, Eva your XP, Andrea your XP. Again, if you got XP, you get candy. At least once, or a minimum and a maximum of once. Like terms. Okay, so what do I mean by like terms? Like terms means it has to be the same exact variable. So the same variable, and I'm going to do in parentheses here s. Oops, got some lag there. Same variable in parentheses s because it might be more than one. For example, x, y, there are 2 variables right there. And not only does it have to be the same variables, but the same variables to the same power. For example, xy is different from x to the cube, y to the 4th. It has to be the same variables and the same powers. You are used to like terms by now, I hope, because we have been doing it for a while. It's getting a little bit more complex in Algebra 2. We're just taking a step further. And standard form. Do you guys remember standard form from Algebra 1? No? Okay, so standard form, you write this. It's just the order in which you put terms. So it's the order of terms from highest degree to lowest degree. So you put the biggest degree first. And if you have 2 that match, for example, if I have an x squared and an xy, both of those are degree 2. It doesn't matter which one you do first or which one you do second, as long as they're both next to one another. So if you have the same degree, just sandwich them together, you're fine. All right, so let's try just using standard form. Bless you.
Thank you.
So standard form, which of these terms here am I going to write first? Quiet raised hand. Andrea. There it is, negative 2x to the 6. Write it down in your notes. Thank you, Andrea. Next is going to be what, Steph? Say it again. You don't want to answer anymore? Because I didn't call on you that last time? I'm sorry. Fiona? Negative 7x to the 5th. There it is. Thank you, Fiona. What's next? So we just did this one and that one. What's next? Eva? Positive 3x to the 4th. So we've gone degree 6, degree 5, degree 4. Thank you, Eva. What is next? Stego. Plus 5x. There we go. So that's crossed off. That's crossed off. And last but not least, we have what, Gio? Plus 1. There it is. We wrote it in standard form. And I forgot to give Stego her XP, so there it is. There it is in standard form. So we know how to use standard form now. Let's go ahead and talk about combining like terms. You have learned this, but it's going to get a little bit more complicated today. So when adding and subtracting polynomials, we need to combine like terms. It's nothing new. I just want to point out that a few things. First of all, AB is the same thing as BA. You're allowed to have the associative property, no, it's the commutative property of multiplication. These two are the same polynomial, so I can add AB and I can add BA. Make sure you really understand how like terms work. It has to be the same variable and the same power, but it's okay if they're switched around. So let's practice our adding. And we're going to have to make sure our answer is in standard form. So we'll probably add first, and then we'll worry about standard form at the very end. So let's add all the like terms. So I'm going to first look for any a squareds. I see an a squared there. I see an a squared there. Any other a squared? That's all I have. So for that one, I'm going to write it underneath. So 7a squared. Someone else do the next one. Only Fiona's ready. Stego's ready. I want to hear from Steph today sometime. You want to do the next one? Yeah, which one are you doing?
4b squared.
4b squared and... Oops, I had some lag there. Okay, and that combines to become what? Negative 4b squared. All right, I agree. Thank you. So now everyone has gotten some candy, or at least you had the possibility of getting candy. And last but not least, someone else. Go for it, Stego.
You add your negative 3 into your positive AB, and you get positive
4AB. All right, and is the order here correct? Is it in standard form? It is. And I can switch any of these around because they're all degree 2 terms. So it doesn't matter the order that I wrote it here. That was fine. All right. Here is the hard and final example. There's nothing on the backside. This is the penultimate level that I expect from you. There's lots of things that are happening. First of all, it's a subtraction problem. It says subtract. Second of all, we have a bunch of harder to do variables. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to distribute this negative sign so I don't have to worry about it. So I'm going to make this into a positive. I'm distributing the negative. So this is now a negative here. This is now a negative here. This is now a positive here. So it's a negative 4j squared k squared. It's a negative j squared k. It's a positive 2j squared. That's how you distribute the negative and show your work for it. Now that I've distributed the negative, I have an addition problem because that turned into an addition sign. How do I do this now? What are the like terms? Do you see any? Can someone walk me through it with a quiet raised hand? Fiona, go for it. Take it back. All right, Stego.
I'm just walking. Do I have to give the answer or just walking?
Just walk me through it, yeah.
So OJ squared.
OJ squared?
Plus
Oh, 8J squared?
yes.
You good?
8J squared plus 2J squared.
Okay, that one right there.
And that's 10J squared.
10J squared. All right, very good. And we're looking for someone else now. Fiona's ready to go again.
2J squared K plus J squared K.
Plus J squared K.
Or minus.
Oh yeah, there's the minus sign in here. I should circle the minus sign. And that forms what? What do I write?
Oh, J squared K.
So plus J squared K. All right, I agree so far. Next up is what? What do I do next? Fiona's ready, but I want to see if someone else can answer. I'd like to hear from maybe Gio, Steph, or Andrea. They have participated the least today. Go for it, Andrea.
Minus 7J K squared.
Okay, and that combines with what? Nothing? Okay, so just write it down. Minus 7 JK squared. Very nice. I tried to trick you. Didn't fall for it. You almost did, but you didn't quite. And then what's my final step? Either Gio or Steph?
Wait.
Oh, I guess that would be the final step. But what's the next step I should ask?
You add, you subtract 4J squared.
There it is. Thank you, Steph. And then Gio's going to put it in standard form for us. Let's do it. Okay, let's maybe first write the degree for each of these. What's the degree of 10J squared? Okay, I was hoping Gio would do this. Let's Gio do this one. 3. Gio, do this one. Is it 3 or 4? 3. And then this one. 4. All right. So help me write that in standard form now. You got this.
4J, negative 4J squared K squared.
Okay.
Plus J squared K minus 7 J K squared plus 10J squared.
There it is. Thank you. Now it's in standard form. Thank you, Gio. And did I give Steph? No, I did not. Steph. Oh, that's the wrong
Yeah, I
Steph.
was gonna be like, oh.
I would have just left you to have the extra XP, but I caught myself. And Gio, come on, 15. All right, there we go. Any questions? Make sure the important things from this lesson, I would write in the summary, make sure to distribute that negative. Make sure to write your answer in standard form. And be careful that AB might equal BA. I guess that's another possible thing to add. So go ahead and write your summaries now, and then we can work on the problem set.